And the rain is continuing to come down. It's splattering the front part of cameraman Scott Ogle's
there's a crash
camera.
we talked about, the sort of thing we just talked about.
Absolutely.
Rider down.
With no hay bales
2 riders
there.
down.
Oh,
3 riders down.
Fortunately, that occurred in the back of the pack, wouldn't you say?
Often it does happen like that. In the back of the pack, the riders are tired. That's why they're in the back of the pack. The reflexes are down. They cross wheels, and things exaggerate at the back of the pack. A slight braking at the front of the pack becomes a giant move. By the time it moves all the way to the back of the pack, think of the cracking of a whip. It's something like that. You're being cracked when you're at the back, and that's what happened to these guys. Number 10. That is Michael Sayers.
Yes, sir. Michael Sayers, the new leader from Mercury, and probably those people that crashed, John, are not going to be able to regroup and get back onto this pack with only a lap to go.
All over for them.
Michael Sayers enjoying probably a 10-second lead here as he winds down in lap number 2 here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Once again, this is a tactical move. Michael Sayers is out there for Team Mercury. He's out there. Now, Team Mercury does not have to go to the front of the pack now. That is now up to a Saturn rider, a Postal rider, or a Navigators rider, a Colorado rider. Any of these other riders are forced because of this tactical maneuver. Once Sayers is caught, look for even another Mercury rider to go on the attack to try to continually force the pace, keep it high, exhaust the field.
And probably one rider we won't see pushing the pace is Chris Horner, where, you know, John Warden mentioned that he was going to be saving himself for the final sprint.
Chris Horner and Derek Bouchard Hall are the 2 aces for Team Mercury. And those 2 riders are being set up by this particular move by this rider, Michael Sayers. 30-year-old rider from Santa Rosa, California, a young man pushing it out, setting up his team for what they hope will be a position on the Olympic team, because generally the thought is that the only way a Mercury rider is going to make it onto this Olympic team is if they win here today. There is coach's choice, but the thoughts are within the community that it's going to have to be a win. They're going to have to grab this, take this, like they've had to take everything else in their cycling career so far, I might add.
And John, 30-year-old Michael Sayers has been reeled in by the lead pack. They're just to the right of our monitor here, and the U.S. Postal Service is certainly bringing that pack back up to the leader.
They brought it back up just in time for another attack. We thought he might wait till later, but he's on the move now. That is Chris Horner. That is Chris Horner, and a Saturn rider pulling up to him. Horner on the attack, Sayers on the attack. They are absolutely trying to beat up this field and get it set up. So now we do know it is Bouchard Hall who's going to be their protected man. And everyone in the field after this attack by Chris Horner knows who to watch from Team Mercury. There's no mistake there. And now,
here comes the Postal Service. Yes, sir.
Marty Jemison, the national champion, looking around, controlling the race. Where's his teammate? Looking for Frankie Andreu. What do I do? I don't want to do this by myself. Now, he's made the decision. He's going to accelerate and go back up to these 3 in front, because Jemison, it's clear from his movements here, has been sent to the front of this race to control it, to keep it under control for Andreu, to control the breakaways. Another Mercury rider. They are all over this bike race.
Yeah, Derek Bouchard Hall now taking the lead. And here comes a rider on the right. It's hard to see the number with the water on the
Looks
the
like
monitor.
Team Jelly Belly. Our favorite team name so far today.
Absolutely, with Eddie Gregas.
Teammate of a heroic Eddie Gregas, who was so terrific earlier on during this bike race. Heroic, trying with everything he had to stay away from the chasing field with 4 laps to go and 3 laps to go. But now they're all together. Mercury on the attack. Horner again. Team Jelly Belly back on the attack.
So at this point, no lead is safe with about a lap and a half to go.
The race is busted wide open. Things are happening. By the time we speak, things change, and here's Chris Horner, winner of the Redlands Classic, looking back as the Jelly Belly Adam Livingston takes over the lead.
Jelly Bellies are a small team, not a giant budget, who've come up and are scrappers. They do really well in these big races. Gregas, Livingston, all of these riders, and competing against teams with considerably larger budgets. Look at the high speed. Look at the way Horner is completely stretching out this field, beating them up. They want to try to split it. They don't want 100 men coming to this finish line together. It's too risky. There's only one chance in 100 to win, and a lot more than that to do a crash.
But John, you've mentioned risk. We've seen Horner at the front, and we've seen Bouchard, Hall at the front, both of whom are good sprinters, both of whom could win the race. Why are they at the front and not the other teammates?
Good question. I'm trying to figure that out myself. At the same time, they're not pure sprinters. They're trying to break it up a little bit. So the Horner can say, you know what, I'm going to try it. I see a chance. Bang. I'm going to get away into a small group and win the sprint from there. That's much better. But right here, another man on the attack by himself. No teammates. Former national champion of the elites. Former national champion of the under-23s in the red jersey. Teammate of the famous Mario Cipollini. Danny Pate on the attack. He's flown in from Italy just for this bike race. But he's being controlled by a Mercury rider, not willing to work with him. Pate moved his elbow. The international sign to say, come in, help take the pace. Mercury rider, no, I'm controlling you. You're going nowhere. That's what happened there.
So, John, why did he continue to look back as he was in front?
Because you want to see if you have a gap. You want to see if you've broken the elastic, you've gotten the other riders out of your slipstream. One thing to remember is when the riders sprint, they sprint away from the field. They're trying to crack the other riders out of their slipstream. If you're in the slipstream of the rider in front of you, you are basically controlling that bike rider. You have the control of that bike rider. If that bike rider can get away from you, can break that slipstream, then both of you are on the same terms. You're both fighting the equal amount of wind, and that is the strongest rider.
In just 2 or 3 minutes, the lead group will be going by our broadcast booth, which will mean there'll be 1 lap to go. 1 lap of 8 miles to go. As number 63, Danny Pate
is absorbed.
No, it's 24. I'm sorry.
Frank McCormick, a man we've been waiting for all day. The man who's come back from a near-death injury in Japan last year. The fierce field sprinter. I've got to tell you, the sprinters are not waiting around for the end of this race. McCormick, Bouchard, Hall, Andreu, and Horner. Every one of them have made an attempt to get away from this field. They're all nervous about the rain. They're all nervous about the other sprinters. And the best way to ensure that you're going to win a bike race is by attacking in a breakaway. And look at the power. Look at what McCormick has done. He's opened up this race. He's pulled away a breakaway.
Yeah, Frank McCormick in the lead from Leicester, Mass. Following him, number 13, John Peters from Santa Rosa, California.
Will they work with him? They're controlling him. They're afraid of him because they all know that if they go to the finish, I mean, he's a big man. Look how big he is. You imagine if that big man puts it in his biggest gear and stands on it with everything he goes mighty fast. And they're afraid. They're controlling him. This is a bit of a shame for McCormick because he needs someone to go, to work with him, to dare. There comes somebody through. McCormick, 1, 2 Mercuries, 2 Mercuries, 3 Saturns. Frankie Andreu, this is the breakaway we've been looking for. These are the top riders in the breakaways in the race, and they have gotten away. We've been waiting for this all day, and here it is in front of us.
McCormick still hanging on.
McCormick, Chris Wherry. Chris Wherry will now bury himself, go to the front of the bike race, and kill himself. Oh my goodness. Saturn has made a tremendous move here because Antonio Cruz, number 26.
And Frankie Andreu right behind them.
3 Saturns, 1 Postal Service, 2 Mercuries. The big teams have come to the front in the final miles of this bike race and shown their strength. But is it going to be enough? The field is still on their heels. The field is within sight. This group is going to have to put it down and show an incredible sense of commitment and really work and know that among them, this is the chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them.
John, we have less than 8 miles to go, probably 7 miles at this point. Is it possible for this group to stay ahead?
Now I would say yes. Now I would say yes. It depends on who can control the front of this field. If Postal Service can put riders to the front to control, Saturn, Mercury, if they can put riders to the front and control, they can slow down this field. That breakaway can stay away. And don't forget, the strongest men in the race are in front right now.